Be my first live stream ever on YouTube. Don't know how often I'll do this, but this is about Pokemon cards. So when I was 6 years old, I started collecting Pokemon cards. It was then that I got Pokemon Emerald for the Game Boy, and I was hooked. So I started watching the TV show and collecting the cards. And I did not know that I was sitting on a gold mine until a friend of mine, which is actually my ex-fiance's cousin's baby daddy, was like, hey, Paul, we should get out those Pokemon cards and check them out. And we did. And I'm going to get this set up for you guys to where you guys can see, you know, everything, and I'll flip through it. It's going to be probably a long live stream just because there's so many, and I won't be able to get through all of them. I don't think that will be possible this evening, but I'm going to go ahead and get you guys the best ones. And why am I doing this? Well, one, I've got my most valuable card posted up on YouTube, or not YouTube, eBay and a couple of other places. It's a Gold Star Trico, which I got with me. That'll probably be the first thing I show off. And in the condition it's in, which I would guess is at least an 8 or a 9, it's worth $4,000, $5,000. 10 went for $6,000. That's the highest one to sell. Not too long ago, actually. And so here we go. I'm just going to start going through them one by one. And let me get this set up correctly here. Should have already had this done before. Okay. Come on now. All right. So that light is going to bother me, but hopefully it won't bother y'all too much. Basically, I'm just going to show you guys the cards. I'm going to show you some of the better ones and then try to flip through the book. I'm doing this because, well, a couple of reasons. One, like I said, I got it posted some places, and someone did offer me the $4,000 for the Trico, and I really wanted to post a video on it before I got rid of it, and also see maybe if somebody else wants it more and would offer me a higher price, honestly. And then the other reason is to talk a little bit about God while I'm doing this, because I believe that he has a big reason and a big part to play in the reason that I have these cards, which I believe are worth about $20,000 in total. And I had no idea until not too long ago. So what we'll do is go ahead and open this. Everybody's been asking me about the Trico, so I'm going to very carefully take it out of the package so that you can see it clearly. Hey there, looks like somebody said, hey, howdy. And you guys can go ahead and take a look at that. So that's with a couple of those off. Still got the wrapper there. That's a Gold Star Trico. When me and Tristan were going through the collection of cards, this wasn't in a special place. This wasn't with my special cards or my shinies, holographics, or anything like that. And I'm going to probably have to move because of that light. That's just annoying. But anyway, it was just kept with my normal cards, guys. I didn't even know that I had this thing, and I definitely didn't know that it was my most valuable card or worth $4,000. That's insane. So he, out of the kindness of his heart, told me that this was worth a ton. And so we put it in this packaging and stuff, and I've had it up for sale. It's ungraded. It's never been graded by PSA before. That's all the wrapping off. The card was obtained when I was about 5 or 6 years old. And it was put immediately into one of these big books here and never touched since. So it's in great, great condition. Okay, so really, really good card there. And there's a story behind it. First of all, if you didn't know, the reason that this card is so valuable, Gold Star cards apparently are like shinies. And now in the games, which is what got me hooked on Pokemon to begin with, shinies have always been a very high sought after thing. They're really rare. Until recently, they became a lot easier to get. But back in the day, It was like a 1 in 8,000 chance or something like that to encounter a shiny Pokemon. That is a shiny Trico. See the red tail? Now, in the games, he's more of a light blue in his shiny form. So I kind of feel like the card there doesn't really do the blue justice. But regardless, you can see the red and everything. So I don't even know really how to explain how God comes into this, but I'll do the best I can. So hopefully most of y'all know from the preaching videos I have up on the channel and stuff like that, that my goal in life is to spread God's word to people. I've never claimed to anybody to be perfect or better than anybody else, because I'm not. As a matter of fact, I'm a lot worse than most people. But that doesn't change the fact that God has blessed me in ways that I don't deserve. And so I promised to him and to myself that for the rest of my life, as long as I'm breathing, I will tell people about God and his love for them. Well, I'm going to try to do this without getting emotional. And while I'm doing that, let me move this so we're out of the light, because that, like I said, is really frustrating. I don't know where I should start. Should I just start with the whole collection? Because, I mean, ultimately everything goes back to God at the end of the day. If he is real, everything comes from God. And so everything should be about God or related to him in some way, shape, or form. In my opinion, of course. But I do believe that that is fact. And so these Pokemon cards, man, my parents were pretty well off. And my dad was a full-time pharmacist, got a degree, started working for the chains like CVS and stuff like that when he was younger, and then opened up his own pharmacy in Milton, which is the town over from where I live. And my father's like my best friend, and to this day is my best friend. I love my dad. And obviously, owning your own pharmacy, he made a lot of money. So, growing up, ever since I got Pokemon Emerald, I actually think I was 7 when I got Emerald, and then I started collecting these cards. So back in like 2004, 2005 is when this collection would have started. Let me see if I can get the camera angle down good so you guys can actually see it, because there's so much of a glare. Well, I'm just gonna do the best that I can to do this. So, anyway, sorry, I'm getting distracted. Got a lot on my mind. I just had a job interview to where I could be very likely moving to Germany. And that's another whole story in itself, but that's kind of where my mind's at. And I think the interview went really well. But yeah, so anyway, my parents were wealthy. My dad spoiled me as a kid, and God intervened to where that was not a constant thing, because if I had been spoiled my whole life up until now, I wouldn't be where I am, and I probably wouldn't know God at all, or at least not understand a true relationship with him. But around the time I was 11, which would have been 2010-ish, my parents got a divorce. So the Pokemon card influx that just happened like almost every day just came to an end. And by that point, I had so many cards. Guys, I would say out of 100%, 10% of the cards just got thrown away or like stepped on or crapped on by an animal or something. I don't know. Because there was just so many that were coming out my freaking ears, man. And no one knew. My dad and I had no idea that these would be worth so much one day. Not a clue. This is legitimately like a $20,000 collection. I just wish that I could find a place to prop this up, and that way you guys can actually see this, and I can flip through these and there not be a glare on the screen. So, see if I can get that figured out right quick. Let's see, we got some comments and some people checking this out. Okay, that might work a little bit better. Actually, I think this might work. So my parents' divorce had a huge effect on my life, and I did the best I could as a child to get these organized based on the type. So you'll see you've got water, obviously, right now, several pages full of water. And there's a lot of these cards that I had duplicates of, and so it's like a Golding right here, or Seeking, and you'll have like 10 or 15 of the exact same card stacked behind this one. So you can't even actually see how many cards there are because I don't have them individual. And don't even get me started on the energies and trainer cards I have. But like I was saying, there's no telling how many of these guys actually got straight up just thrown away over the years and trashed because it was like nobody thought they were going to be worth that much one day. And in the future, if I ever show these off again, I'll have a better setup. Here's the thing. Somebody is interested in buying the collection for $20,000, and they might be worth more than that. I'm going to have to go through and number all these and everything, but that's the other God part of the story. Let me see if I can get the book that's got the better cards so you guys can at least see the shinies and holographics and stuff. Got Giratina on the front there. Well, this is crazy, man. How do I get this? I'm just going to go to a different room. How about that? So how does God play into the $20,000 thing? Well, if I go to Germany, I have to raise a portion of my budget because it is a missionary job. And if I have to raise a portion of my budget, then there's a good chance that it might be several $1,000, maybe even upwards of $10,000 that I would have to ask people for. So I prayed to God. I said, Lord, I have a little bit of credit card debt. I have some things in my life I really need to get taken care of. And obviously, it looks like you're lining up this job opportunity for me. So if this is a part of your will, you say to ask for anything in your name. And I know this might sound silly, but honestly, I could really use about $20,000. And I believe, Lord, you are faithful for that. The sad thing is, a week later, whenever this opportunity came up to sell my Pokemon card collection for 20 grand, I didn't even remember that I had prayed that. Can you believe that? A week earlier, I had asked God, and he had to remind me and say, Paul, you didn't even remember. So I was sitting there all excited, you know, that I might be able to sell these Pokemon cards and get what I need to go to the next part that God wants me to in life. And sure enough, completely forgot that I asked God for $20,000, and that just so happens to be exactly what my Pokemon card collection is worth, which I already knew, but I didn't make that connection when I was given the prayer at all. And so it's just amazing, man, what God can do when you trust in him and when you align your will with his. Meaning, I'm not going to Germany because I want to get out of the United States or because I want to be better than anybody or say, look at me. I'm going over there because there's an opportunity to tell kids about Jesus, dude. So if it's part of God's will, I'm going to do it. And I know that bringing kids to Christ is a part of God's will. So I'm going to do it. Now, Sceptile. That's the other part of the God thing in this story. Sceptile is my favorite Pokemon, or Linoone and Sceptile are my favorite too. Linoone because I love raccoons, and Sceptile because my very first Pokemon, when I chose Emerald version, getting ahead of myself. For my 7th birthday, my mom got me a Game Boy Advance SP. Technically, my mom and dad did, but she picked it out and bought it. And got me 2 games. It was Crash and Pokemon Emerald. Now, I didn't know much about Pokemon at the time, if anything at all. And I remember starting up that game, y'all, and literally playing it for hours before I realized how to save. So every time I would start up Emerald and choose my Pokemon, I would play for hours of the game, make it past the first gym and stuff like that. And every time I make it a little bit farther, but I never figured out that you could actually save your progress of the game. So I was just resetting every time. Now I was like 7 years old, but I didn't look at the instruction manual or anything. I know that this honestly really stupid, but that is actually what happened. And finally I learned how to save it after maybe like a week. And man, Pokemon Emerald had me hooked. I love that game still to this day. It's probably that, Resident Evil 4, and I'm just going to stick with Emerald and Resident Evil 4 as my 2 favorite games for now. I'm not going to pick a third there, because there's so many. You got the Groudon EX, and there's a lot of EXs. That's a Delta Species Electric Rayquaza EX. He used to be my favorite legendary. Okay, so I got distracted again. Continuing on. I like that Groudon EX. With the flames behind it. Looks like he's in hell or something. Light Machamp. Check that out. Okay. Oh yeah, the Mew and then the Sceptile EX, also Delta Species. Supposed to be grass, but psychic. Got the old Japanese Gengar Sabrinas, I think. Shiny Typhlosion or Hollow. Yeah, if it made it into this book, it's either really, really old, or it's an EX, or a shiny, or just a super rare card, or a legendary. Got Jirachi on this page, and Lugia, Baynet EX. It's a shiny holographic Japanese Starmie EX. So over the years, my dad bought me all these cards. My mama got me Emerald. Absolutely love Pokemon Emerald. And my first Pokemon was Trico. Every time I reset the game and started over in that first week or whatever, I chose Trico. So I was one of those kids that just leveled up one Pokemon. So I got Sceptile to level 100 and then basically tried to fight the Elite Four. And I was stuck on the Elite Four, dude, because it took me so long just to get to the 4th guy in there, and I saved. And I thought that it would be impossible for me to go back and start at the Elite Four at the beginning. So I just kept fighting them. I had just the amount of full restores and stuff. Because Sceptile could easily beat the champion in that region. Wallace, easy. Leaf Blade at level 100 kills almost everything on his team because of the water types. But, yeah, you got like 2 Deoxyses on that page. That was a crazy Pokemon. Look at that. That's an old Misdreavus. Super shiny. And then I do have one new card on this page that actually Tristan, the friend that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, gave me. It's one of my favorites because my favorite colors are black and blue. And that's the only variation of Charizard they ever made that looks like that. I mean, Hydreigon's cool, but geez, the freaking Charizard X with the black and blue flames is epic, man. Look at that. Sometimes I wish they made cards like that back when I was collecting them, but man, I guess technically they did with the original Charizards and stuff. And you got Tyranitar EX. That's a nice one. So, anyway, what are the odds, y'all, that the first Pokemon I ever got was a Trico in the game? And to me, no offense to anybody that loves the cards or the TV show, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. If you're into Pokemon, you're into Pokemon. I mean, some people are super into Pokemon Go. I liked it for a little while, but to me, it's the games. I was into the games big time as a kid, and then I got into breeding Pokemon and shiny collecting, and then I got into battling competitively, and that's what I'm still into. I love competitive Pokemon battling the most because there's nothing like staying up till 1 or 2 in the morning playing kids in Japan, and that feeling when you beat somebody that you know just knows the game. I mean, it's like a game of chess, except it's so much more in depth, man. So anyway, it's quite a collection. This is just a short book of some of the cards, and I'll go back to the bigger books or bring them out here. But what are the odds that the first Pokemon I ever got, a Trico, and I didn't even know I had the Gold Star Trico, a shiny one. That wasn't something that I traded for. That wasn't something that I bought offline and thought, oh, this will be worth something one day. No. Matter of fact, if it wasn't for Tristan, I wouldn't have even ever found that card because it would have just gotten lost with all these other ones here. I mean, look at this. Look at this. Most of these have multiple cards in them. I mean, there's just so many, y'all. It would take me doing this right here on a live stream for hours to get through the whole collection of cards. And I mean, even then, well, like, this book isn't filled up as much, but even then, if I were to take them out individually and count them and do a live stream doing this, I could nearly guarantee that it would be 4 or 5 hours to get through all of them. It would be a process. And I might do that, but there's a dude that is serious about flying over here to Crestview or flying to Florida and making a drive over here and doing an actual trade. And as long as they add up to be 20 grand, that is what he has agreed to pay. And he's already pretty much agreed to give the correct price for this Trico here. So, yeah, I'm trying to think of where I was with the God story. I know that I keep going on rabbit trails. I'm just really excited right now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's it. So, like, what a blessing. What a blessing to have all these cards. Who knew back then that Pokemon cards were going to be like liquid gold? Not me. So, I'm blessed that my father spoiled me on Hot Wheels cars and Pokemon cards as a kid. And I mean, he bought packs and packs and packs, y'all. Like, anytime I went to the store with him, doesn't matter what it was for, I was getting a pack of Pokemon cards. And even when I wasn't going to the store with him, if he happened to see him as he was checking out, he'd throw in a pack and bring it home. My dad, he's just an awesome dude. I love him. And he's the reason, he is the reason that I have all the cards I have. And he had no idea back then that they'd be worth this much either. So he really was blessing me in ways that him and I didn't even know at the time. And ultimately that goes back to God, because God knew. God knew that all these Pokemon cards were going to be worth this much one day. And he also knew I wasn't going to care. And what do I mean? I love Pokemon still. Pokemon's cool. But is that having any effect on going to heaven or hell? Is that saving souls? Is that something that truly, actually, like, matters? No, it doesn't at all. I'd love to play a game of Pokemon, but if it's going to use up too much of my time or distract me from the purpose that God has put me here for, then it's not necessary. And the whole thing about this is, what am I doing with them? I mean, unless I start putting hours of time into it, showing them off here on YouTube, there's no point in me keeping them. And the 20,000 or more could really help me out. So I'm taking it as an answer to prayers between the Trico being the first Pokemon I ever got and finding that thing. And then the fact that I specifically prayed for the 20,000, and I said at the end of the prayer, Lord, I'm asking for that amount specifically because I don't want to attribute however I receive it, whether from the lottery or whatever, to myself. I want to give all the credit, honor, and glory to you as you deserve, and that I always try to do. So please make it exactly that, because you know that that's really what I kind of need right now. And look at what he does. I mean, what are the odds that 1 week after I prayed that prayer, not even a whole week, somebody's hitting me up to buy the collection for 20 grand? I mean, that is just not a coincidence. Okay. Well, we're at 24 minutes. It's been a long live stream. I'm going to make a couple of short videos just showing off the entirety of the collection, kind of flipping through the pages real quick, post a short, then maybe do like a quick explanation video like I just did on the Trico and stuff. And then I'm going to shoot those videos to that dude and see if he is still interested in buying the collection. But hope that you guys have a good rest of your evening. And if y'all are interested in any cards or are curious to if I have a particular one, I'm not sure how hitting somebody up through YouTube works, but you can always leave a comment, and I will let you know as soon as I can if I have the card or not. I still kind of need to go through and organize them a little bit better than they are now. So I'll get to that when I can. But God bless you. Have a good night, and I will talk to y'all later.